Hello and welcome to the show. Please consider making a donation, as contributions make this show possible. And now, This Day in History with Dr. Devlin. I think that's his name.
Hello, I'm Dr. Devlin, and today on This Day in History, we're going to look back at the Giant incident. You know, where the nuclear explosion created one of the prisoners inside of the LA prison to become a huge and dangerous giant. Now, due to the lack of funding, I'm going to be with you the whole way, and I'm going to be describing it with props. Hi, as many of you know, May 21st signifies the day that scientists attempted to solve cold fusion. Now, unfortunately for us, this went horribly wrong, and the huge nuclear disaster that happened afterwards led to a contamination of the LA water supplies. This went into the drinking water used in the LA prison, where many prisoners were contaminated, and where they decided to end up burning all the prisoners, but one escaped. That one came right through here and dug his way to freedom. Well, at first, everything seemed to be alright. There's no reports of strange sightings, nothing going on. But then, a couple days later, May 23rd, 1975, there was a sighting of a 50-foot tall man. Now, this seemed to be a very odd sighting, so police nonetheless went out to investigate, and they confirmed it. Soon the military was brought in, and they were trying to figure out how to stop this 50-foot tall man from rampaging throughout California with what appeared to be a weird fixation with his eyes. Doctors and scientists began to run tests. They first were testing his visual awareness, since he was at that fixation with his eyes. And what they found was that he was legally blind. So then they began to test his hearing. And what they found was that his absolute threshold was much better than everyone else's, meaning that he could hear lower frequencies and farther distances a lot more effectively than others. That he could detect it 50% of the time much further away. So then they began to formulate plans on how to use this to their advantage. Scientists then came up with a genius plan. It was going to be a slam dunk.
We now go behind the scenes with all the in-depth science behind the scientists' plan to take down this giant. Here is Doppler Dave with more.
Yes, you see, I was the lead expert on this project because we decided to attack through the nose. The nose is the very best access point to get through the brain, since you only have to go through the little hair cells that cover the nose to protect it from incoming particles. So all the flyer jets had to do is weave their way through the hair cells and make it up to the olfactory brain. The olfactory bulb is this little bulb that's up in your nose, right up here. And that from here, incoming particles come and attach themselves. And then the bulb sends little receptors. It's like little transmitters, if you will, up to the brain, where it receives them and then recognizes them as anything from your memory. So this is the best way to go. What we plan to do was take the fighter jets and have them come at the olfactory bulb, smash through the bulb, and go straight to the brain. From there, they could get to the spinal cord and fillet the giant. The plan began to take its final steps. They decided, by using a keen psychological principle known as Weber's Law, that they were going to be using 20 fighter jets instead of 15. This occurred because, as Weber's Law states, the change in the just noticeable difference increases as the intensity of the stimulus increases. In other words, if I were to take this light switch and turn on, you instantly notice the difference. But as I move it up the dial, slowly but surely, you don't notice the difference until further along the dial as it increases, until finally, at its max, it has to take the largest jump along the dial for you to notice. This can also be seen on this graph over here. If we have intensity on the X and noticeability, for a lack of a better word, on the Y. As soon as we increase the intensity, we notice it right away. And it takes a little bit of time until we notice it again. Then a little bit longer before again we notice. And a little bit longer before again we notice. This pattern continuously occurs, kind of forming a type of stair step. So in other words, if we were to relate it to the light,
We noticed the difference here. It took further along the dial for us to notice until we noticed the difference in the lighting. And again, further along the dial until we noticed the difference in the lighting. With the fighter jets, this worked because instead of using 15, which was down at this end in the noticeability, we were able to go up to 20 right before he noticed the increase in sound. That way we got more bang for the buck.
All the scenes you're about to see are reenactments using our props, but some of them have real audio. Looking good, Commander. Approaching the nose. Commander, the giant's swatting us. Ah!
It's because he's blind. His other senses are becoming more aware. He can hear you better. Prepare to shield up.
All right, shields up. All right, we're ready to go. Ah!
Proceed with caution.
Woo! Meow.
Commander, his nose is really running. This is disgusting.
Well, you better fly faster to catch up with it.
This is no time for jokes, Commander. This is serious.
Well, how about one more?
Fine.
What do you do when your nose starts to protest? You pick it.
Oh, very funny, Commander. Alright. I got one for you. Did you hear about the boy who got worried when his nose grew to 11 inches long?
No, what happened?
He thought it might turn into a foot. Ah!
That was a good one, Captain, but this giant, his nose is already well over a foot. So, get back to business.
Sticklers for every joke. Gosh.
What does it look like in there, Captain?
Ah, there's tons of hair cells. We're gonna be very lucky if we can make it through here alive.
It appears to me that you're approaching the olfactory bulb.
Yes, I can see it now. There it is. What do you want me to do?
There's been some complications, Captain. Pull out, pull out.
No, I must do this for California. Ah, ramming speed.
There it is, the brain. Oh my gosh, it's real small, and it's smooth. Commander, do you know what they say about small and smooth brains?
No, what?
They're very, very stupid. Alright, enough of the jokes. Here we go. Preparing weapon systems. Ah! Ah! No, there's some left. This isn't good. The weapon systems are jammed. I guess I'm gonna have to finish this off the one way that's left. Goodbye, Commander.
No, you should wait for reinforcements.
No.
You don't have to do this alone.
I'm finishing this the only way I know how. Pew pew pew! Pew pew pew!
We're going to take a moment to recognize all those who gave their lives in the giant battle. First up, Nicholas Lidstrom, the courageous captain of the Red Battalion that all lost their lives during this great battle. Next, Andrew Raycroft, often referred to as Stonewall Raycroft, did not let anything go under his watch. Next up, Martin Brodeur. He, much like Raycroft, also did not let anything go, but he had the Grand Achievement Award, as you can see, under his watch. Next up, Cujo. Cujo was under Lidstrom's care in the Red Battalion, gave his life on duty. We proceed to Wayne Gretzky, the star of the battalions. He was the leading fighter jet in this war. Then we go to Joe Sakic. Joe Sakic led the Maroon Division of the fighter jets. Next up, Saku Koivu. Koivu led the only Canadian unit that was inside this war. Next up, Steve Yzerman. He's forever a hero for giving his life to save that of the captains. We move over to Eamon Devlin. Although littly known then, Eamon Devlin proved that he was worth every ounce of training and time spent in him. Go to Sparty. Who can forget Sparty? Not enough can be said about Sparty. He was an icon, the figure of the military at the time. Then we look over at runner-up. He was commonly referred to as runner-up since his brother Champion always beat him in everything, but both were phenomenal fighter pilots. Next we look to Igor Larionov. He, like Brodeur, won the Grand Champion Award. As you can see here, he will always be remembered. We go next to Brett Hull. It's over 700 kills in his career, as you can tell by his plaque. Next up, Tayshaun Prince. He had a different award, not quite the Grand Achievement Award, but still, his award was very notable. It was the notoriety. I'm getting choked up here. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Tayshaun Prince. We have Pavel Datsyuk. Not enough can be said of this European hero who gave his life as well. Then we have Lidstrom. This star went down courageously as he was taken out by the hair. And then we have Yosemite Sam. Wildest shooting, least accurate, but it was effective. And finally, of course, we have Captain. You know the story about him. He is the hero of this entire tale. Please take a moment of silence to remember these people. Thank you.
Thanks to Captain, California's safe now.